Tigers.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tiger Talk. I'm Puda, with always Coach Dre, Coach Claire.
Week 2.
Week 2.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Not the week we wanted, not the Friday we wanted, but hey, played a hell of a team.
Yeah, they were a very good team. Formidable opponent. Coach Jenkins does a great job year in and year out with those guys. And, to start off, I just loved the effort from our team. I loved how our defense played. I loved how the special teams played. Offense didn't match the intensity of the rest of the team, in my opinion. Had opportunities, obviously, had some opportunities down there in their territory to put the ball into the end zone. We just had too many timely mistakes with penalties, sacks, assignment busts, things like that. So, but overall, man, the defense just, the effort that they put forth against a really good offense.
Really good.
Special teams did a good job of flipping the field as much as they could. Dylan in the punt game, he had 9 punts for 279 yards. You never want to have 9 punts in a game.
Never.
But in the situation that you do, he did a good job with it. We handled the blocking aspect of that pretty well. Overall, not the results we were hoping for, not what we were going into the week expecting. But it is what it is. It happened. So now we just got to move on to the next week. But obviously, with the show, we're going to talk about a little bit what went into what happened last week in the 23-0 loss.
Always. So let's get into the offense first.
Yep.
Anyway, y'all don't know. Final score was Lutcher 23, Thibodeau nothing. So we'll get into the offense first. Braden Becknell, 8 for 27, 77 yards. No TDs, but no interceptions.
Right. And then we had 7 drops.
7 drops.
So
7 drops. Oh, I'm just seeing that.
Same as last week. With the Jamboree, we had 7 drops or 8 drops the week prior, and we talked about that last week on the show.
Right.
That's got to be something that we clean up going into this week against a really good opponent, and it's something that we didn't clean up just from the first drive on. We had 2 drops on the first drive, which kind of put us behind the sticks, and it changes the entire momentum shift early in the game. Field position battle was huge, and we started behind the sticks. We give them the ball on our 30-yard line twice to start the game. We get 2 3-and-outs from our defense, and Lutcher's up 6-0. You know what I mean? They didn't get a first down, and they're up 6-0 already from 2 field goals. That just kind of lets you know the field position battle that we were up against. With how we started off the football game offensively with sacks and penalties and drops and things like that. Drops was a big thing, and then just our timing and getting rid of the ball quickly, and especially against a defensive front like we played. We played a really good defensive front. There's a lot to be said about those 3 guys up front for that football team. They are some really good football players. I think we did the best job that we could, obviously, and our guys were prepared.
Yeah.
But it's just when you play teams like that with the ability to get after the passer the way that they can. You got to get rid of the ball quickly. You got to get the football out of your hands and get it to your receivers. And when the receivers get the ball to them, delivered in their hands, they got to make the catch. They got to make a run after catch and make somebody miss. And that's just something last week that we didn't capitalize on.
Right. Yeah. 51 was all over the field.
He was a really good player, man.
Do you know he's a senior?
He's a senior. He's a Tulane commit.
Tulane commit.
They're getting a really good football player.
He was all over the field.
He was.
And look, Braden plays his fucking ass. Braden plays his ass off.
Right.
And, he's young. He's going to make mistakes.
Yeah, no doubt.
but I know y'all have confidence in him,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I, I cannot see him not getting better.
Yeah, I mean he's going to continue to progress throughout the season. You know what I mean? Just getting game reps against really good opponents, against game speed, is going to make him a better football player. And that's kind of that's what he's lacking right now. But the only way to do it is to put him in
Get him
situations
in.
in games and let him play. So he's going to learn as the
Exactly.
season grows on, and he's going to get a whole lot better. But like I said, same thing as last week. If you capitalize on those 7 drops, 8 of 27 turns into 15 of 27. Now we're talking about a different performance.
So you might
And,
have
and you don't know, we might have 150 yards,
100, yeah.
180 yards, and we may have picked up a couple first downs. That might have been when we were inside their 36-yard line. We had 13 plays inside their 36. We had 7 plays inside their 16 and didn't score a point. In those plays, we went 1 of 6 passing. We went 6 rushes for -3 yards. We had 2 penalties. We had 1 sack. So, like, when we got into the red zone, into the scoring zone, we went backwards. You know what I mean? Just point blank period. We didn't do the things and capitalize on what we needed to do. We just,
right.
Simple mental mistakes and things like that. But, that's signs of a young offense. We got 9 brand new starters on the offensive side of the ball. And that's a huge week 1 challenge for us against a really good team. We can't understate that. You're not going to make excuses,
Yeah,
but
no,
it was a
definitely
good
not
football
excuse, but
team
that's
that we
that's
played.
a that's a
To
that's a
go
hard
on
start.
to go on the road against Reigning State champion and against a defense like they have, a defensive front especially. We kind of took it on the chin a little bit, but that's only going to make us better
Exactly.
going forward. That's not something that's just going to mean, oh yeah, we're just going to keep taking it on the chin. No, we're not. You know what I mean?
hell
But we got to take that one on the chin and accept it for what it is, and we got to learn how to get better.
That's it. You learn from it. You move on. You get better.
That's all we can do.
Exactly. All right, Russian. Mari Griffin 2 for 2 yards. Cohen Gyro 4 for 23. Dominic Blanchard 10 for 40. And Braden 1 for 2 yards.
Yeah, so you didn't see the explosiveness like the prior 2 weeks with big plays. You had a couple big plays on a couple counters and outside zones and things like that. A couple of them that looked really good, but a lot of the misassignments is what was leading to the -3 yard runs on first down, -4 yard runs on first down. It was more so assignment bust and false steps up front. With an offensive line like we have, it's a younger offensive line, not a ton of experience, but it's also an offensive line that was going up against a really good front. Again, can't overstate that fact. But if you false step against against some of the guys that we were playing against, you're gonna lose. You know what I mean? You're gonna lose that battle in the trenches 100 times out of 100. So we did a really good job emphasizing our first step in practice all week, making sure whenever we snap the football, we're stepping in the right direction. We're making sure our shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage. We're not turning and creating vertical run seams for those defensive linemen to get into the backfield and wreak havoc. So I think that will be corrected obviously this week. But like you said, it's just some teach tape where you get to learn some valuable lessons on you cannot do this against a team with this kind of caliber defensive line up front. And, we learned a big lesson up front.
Listen, you can practice. The best way to learn is game situation.
No doubt.
And go up against somebody that'll punch you in your mouth.
Yeah.
So
you got to take it on the chin every once
this
in a
could
while.
only make you better.
There's no doubt.
All right, receiving, Kyron Falls 1 for 20. Dominic Blanchard 2 for 11. Cohen Gyro 3 for 19. Bryson Woods 1 for 14. And Amari Griffin 1 for 13.
Yeah, so like I said, not a lot of completions, 8 completions, bunch of drops, and it's just something that we just got to continue to work on with our timing. It's a bunch of new guys at receiver. It's a new quarterback. As the more that we gel and the more that we play together, the better off we're going to be. And the timing's going to get better. Their route recognition and knowing when he's coming out of his break, when he's about to do, what he's supposed to do, if he's sitting down in zone, if he's continuing to run in man, and then just keeping eyes downfield versus pass rush. And I thought Braden did a good job of doing that. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't just scrambling and trying to get upfield. He was scrambling, trying to get around with his eyes downfield to make a throw. And that's what you ask for out of your quarterback. So I think, in the pass game, rush game, everything offensively, we're going to continue to get better as a football team.
I agree. And listen, drops happen.
Yeah.
Bad games happen. Look at LSU Sunday night.
Yeah.
You know what? They had a major college, and they make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what? But everybody gets better.
There's no doubt.
You work hard, you get better. And I have no doubt you and your coaches are doing the same hard work, and your players are doing the same hard work that LSU is doing this week to get better.
There's no doubt.
All right. Let's get on these defensive stats.
Yeah.
Rashad Jackson, 14 total tackles, 7 solo, 7 assists, and 5 behind the line.
Yeah, so once again, that's 3 weeks in a row. He's a phenomenal football player. And he did a great job, when he was in there. And he did everything we asked him to do. We hold those guys to 6 in the first half. And like I told the staff, I put the 6 on the offense. That had nothing to do with the defense.
Yeah.
The defense went 3 and out 2 times and gave up 6 points. That's not the defense's fault. That's the offense's fault for not being able to flip the field position and putting them in a bad spot with a pick early on in the game, and then punting from our own end zone for the second one. So, defensively, essentially in the first half, lights out. Absolutely lights out. 0 points to their credit for what they were giving up. So defense played a hell of a game in the first half. Even in the second half until they stayed on the field most of the game. We got tired. But yeah, man, I can't say enough about the way that the defense played with the intensity that they played with, continuing to get the ball back to the offense to give us opportunities to do something with it. And Rashad was a big part of that. He was all over the football field, did a great job all night.
As always, he's awesome, man. I love that kid, and unfortunately, concussion.
Yeah. And he's fine. He's feeling better.
Missed a couple games.
This week. He's going to miss this week against Lafourche. He's going to miss next week against St. James. And then he'll be back for East St. John as long as everything goes, well with his concussion protocol and things with Jerry.
Right. That's awesome. Man, I love that kid, and that was the first time I seen something like that really got to me, and I'm glad he's all right, and I can't wait to see him back running
He's
out
been
defense
in practice
again.
all week. He's been doing a great job as a leader at practice, because
definitely a leader.
He's upset that he can't be out there, obviously,
well, obviously,
and he understands it, but he hadn't let that affect, how he's acting amongst his teammates, and he's been doing a good job all week.
Right. Brad Leonard, 7 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 behind the line.
So Brad's going to be somebody that we're going to move inside this week to make up for the Rashad absence.
Right.
So he's going to move inside. Andre's going to bump over, and then we get Derek Stepter back from injury. So, we lose one, we gain one, and then we kind of shift positions around with the backers and put Brad inside. And Brad's very capable. Obviously, he's a defensive captain. He's a guy that we can trust. He's a guy that we count on. And then Andre Jones in the middle with him is a really good sophomore player for us as well, who's going to have to do a good job making sure we're in the right sets and the right checks against the South Lafourche team that kind of does some different things formation-wise. So we got to make sure we get lined up tomorrow night, and those 2 guys are going to be key in that.
Right. Austin Jones, 14 total, 6 solo, 2 behind the line.
Yeah, Austin played really well, man. Austin had a great game. Tons of tackles, just always involved, nose for the football, high motor, great energy last week. I thought he played a really, really good game. And then, I'm sure you'll get into it after this one, but Asher Maurer, he played really well as well. Asher had 9 tackles. He had 2 sacks, 6 solos, 3 assists. So that's a guy that, wasn't supposed to start last week, but, due to some different circumstances and, some team rule violations and things like that, he was a guy that jumped into the starting lineup, and he played his tail off. He answered the call, and, he was a guy that went from a second teamer and a rotation player to a starter, and he had a really dang good game. So, we were excited to see that because that just provides, defensive line depth for us, with the defensive front that we have. in the district that we play in versus the teams that we're going to play. It's going to be
need it.
physical football all year long.
You'll need that.
So
need that depth.
having Charles out right now, we'll get Charles back in a couple weeks hopefully. But having Asher step up, we got Trevon Hadley, Jace Robertson, we got Austin Jones, we got Roland Vining, we got just a bunch of guys up front now that we feel really good about. That can kind of be rotational pieces for us. Giovanni Carter's a freshman, so I mean we got the defensive line has grown some depth throughout the early parts of the season so far, and it's with guys getting reps and limited action, but. Against a team like that to go on the road and do what he did, that's his first varsity football game as a varsity player, and he played really well.
That's awesome. So, like you said, Asher, 9 total tackles, 6 solo, 5 behind the line, 2 sacks. That's awesome.
Right.
I love it. Tyler England, 12 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 behind the line.
Yeah, Tyler's another really good football player, man. You can't say enough about our secondary. And what they're able to do defensively. We've been holding a bunch of teams to, under 40-30% completion percentage, and then those guys at the safety position do a great job of coming up in the run game and running the alley and playing that. So, I mean, I thought Tyler played a really good game. And everybody in the back end did, honestly. Spencer, Kimon, Lawrence, Tyler, Dyson. Dyson had a great game too. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where, one of our main guys went down, everybody else stepped up, and those guys played well, all night long. We give up 23 points at the end of the day, but, that 23 is not all on defense. A lot of that was offensively not being able to move the football, special teams wise not being able to flip the field, and then just being on the field the whole game.
Playing a damn good team.
And playing a good team as well, yeah.
So, last but not least, and I talked to his mama Friday night of the game.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hope somebody can finally get his last name right. And I was like, all right, tell it to me. She told it to me. I was like, all right, how about I just say Dyson V when he makes a tackle? So, Dyson Vasilakis.
Yeah. He corrected me. Remember last week we talked about it?
Yeah, we talked about it. I told him we talked about it last week.
I told him, I said, hey, if I say it wrong, make sure you come tell me. Next day he told me, he said, you got it wrong. So, I think I got it now.
I will probably say Dyson V when I'm announcing the games. But anyway, 11 total and 4 solo, 1 behind the line.
Yeah, so he had a great game.
You just talked about it. So that's awesome. Game. And I will get his name right eventually.
Hey, takes time, takes practice, just like everything else.
Exactly. All right, special teams. No field goal attempts. I mean, no PA attempts.
Unfortunately.
1 field goal attempt, which was off to the left.
Yep, off the crossbar. Oh, off the.
Yeah, it did hit. That's true. It did hit. 1 kickoff. Dylan Albert. I mean,
touchback.
Pretty much, he's kicking off as a touchback, right?
Yeah, he's doing a great job for us.
He's got a
monster leg. Yeah.
Dylan Albert, 9 punts, 269 yards, 1 inside the 5-yard line, 29.8 average.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, you don't want to punt 9 times in a football game.
No.
But in the event that you do, it's good to have a guy like him back there who can do what he does. And the one that he pinned inside the 5-yard line, I thought was really good for field position control for the rest of that half.
Yeah,
then he had one as well that got muffed, and we recovered inside their 20-yard line that we also couldn't capitalize on offensively. But he did a good job in the kicking game for us. He was special teams player of the week.
We're gonna get better. Don't worry, y'all. Don't worry. Punt returns, Gyro 1 fair catch, Blanchard 1 fair catch.
Yep, no return opportunities in the punt.
Kickoff returns, Rafino McDowell 2 for 27 yards, and Bryson Woods 1 for 16.
Yep. And that's something we've been working on all week, is making sure with the lanes with our kickoff return team, we got to do a better job blocking. We got to do a better job of opening up some seams because the guys that we have back there are really good football players, really quick. And when they have a seam, they can hit it. They can go a long way. But we got to take that part of the game a little bit more seriously, and we got to put more emphasis on making sure we're doing our job.
Definitely. All right, we'll jump into the freshman and JV game last night.
Yeah, really good football games. Two really good games for us.
Freshman beat Solid Foods 36-6,
Yep. So let's talk about that one first.
and V Brown.
Darius Brown, he did a great job, man. He's every time in those freshman games, it seems like he's just on a different level, doesn't it?
The JV too.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's
Right.
he's a really good football player. He's done some special things when we put the ball in his hands.
He looks awesome.
And then Quincy Wagner, he's another one who did a great job. Makai Sylvester is another one who did a great job. Carter Clute had a touchdown run.
Yeah.
Kind of spread the ball around last night. Von D had one.
Yeah.
Quincy had one. Makai had one. Carter had one. And then who was it? Was it Damian or was it Cody that threw the touchdown? I think it was Cody. Damian threw one in JV. So I think it was Cody Dawson who threw one in the freshman game. He threw one in the freshman game, which was awesome. So, yeah, man, excited about those guys in the freshman group. We got a talented freshman class. I love our freshman class. Big offensive line. Lots of really talented skilled players on the offensive side of the ball. So that's a group that we're really excited to see progress for us in our program. They had a really good night last night. And then defensively, you look on that side of the ball again. Braden Boyd had a good night. Landon Pertwee had a pretty good night. Those guys did a really good job defensively coming up, forcing stuff at the line of scrimmage. JV and Willis, he's a good defender for us. We actually bumped him up to the JV last night with some injuries and things like that, and he played pretty well in the JV game too. There's a lot of guys on that side of the ball defensively that are doing some good things that obviously the varsity coaching staff's noticing and picking up on. But we're like I said, we got a really talented freshman class, and that's a group that we're excited about.
Freshman really look good. JV look good too.
Yeah.
JV won 34-12.
Yeah. So that was a really good game for us, man. Obviously, we had a little mix-up at the quarterback position pre-game, so we put Jacob Terrell back there,
He did
a great job. He did a great job. What team player?
Yeah.
Obviously, you tell him 25 minutes before the game, hey, you're playing quarterback tonight, and he's just like, okay, whatever you need.
Wow.
So, he didn't complain.
Wow.
He had nothing to do but get back there and say, all right, I'm ready. So he got ready to go. He did a great job, though. He looked good back there, man. Throwing the ball, running around, scrambling. He ran the offense, commanded it pretty well,
he did.
I thought. And then, obviously, Kamari Carto at running back had a big, long touchdown run. Von Darius did a good job back there. Quincy Wagner, again, we brought him up to the JV level. He's done a good job for us. Damian Robertson played quarterback late in the game. Throws a touchdown to Jacob Terrell. Jacob was a receiver. He was the quarterback. Kind of did a little bit of everything for us. I think the offensive line, though, did a really good job as well in the JV game. Couple times, with the blitzes and things that Lafourche was doing, we didn't pick it up as well.
Right.
But you don't necessarily prepare JV-wise for what the other team's JV opponent's going to do. So I think that's kind of just natural to have a couple of busts like that. But for the most part, the JV offensive line, I thought, did a really dang good job of holding up and giving the quarterback some time back there. And then also creating run lanes for the running backs. And then defensively in that JV game, how about Maris Lee? Three interceptions. Like, he had a couple last week. Like,
ridiculous.
he's a ball hawk, man, back there in the secondary at free safety, and he's impressing the heck out of all of us. And we love to see a kid that works as hard as he does have some success. On Wednesday nights. He's a sophomore.
He's a sophomore.
Yeah. So he's going to be a good player for us, man.
That's awesome.
And then obviously we got a bunch of guys. I thought Tylen Andrus did a good job last night on the edge, getting involved in some of those tackles, man. Roland Vining again, Blake Tilford up front at the nose guard spot. Those guys do a good job. JV and Willis, who we moved up to play a little corner for us last night, did a pretty good job. So, man, defensively with the JV, we gave up a little something late in the game, but for the most part, they did a great job all night.
Right. So, like I said, freshman JV both look good. What about that number 44?
And Cam DiMaggio, he did do a great job, man. Hey, we were joking on the sideline last night because he made somebody miss, and that's not Cam's thing. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like he's a
I
straight
know.
line route runner.
I know.
And man, he got him a catch, and then he made somebody miss.
I know.
And we were joking about it on the sideline. He couldn't believe that he actually fell. He's like, "Did he really fall, Coach?" I was like, "Yeah, he definitely fell." And then he got a touchdown late in the game.
We might have to do
in the back pylon.
Might have to do get that replay. I need to send that to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did catch a touchdown and a 2-point conversion,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, shout out to my guy, y'all. All right, let's talk about tomorrow night.
Yeah, excited.
We're going down the bayou to South
We
Lafourche.
sure are. So, obviously, it's an opportunity for our team to get a win. Obviously, we want to go out there and play a really clean football game. We want to make sure we clean up on the mistakes that we had last week. Offensively, we had 8 sacks last week for negative 60 yards of offense. You can't win when you do that.
No.
We had 3 penalties for only 15 yards, but the sacks was a big thing. The sacks and the drops. So that's something that we definitely want to clean up. And then playing faster, playing with more of a sense of urgency, playing with a better pace. But that also is easier to do whenever you're moving the football. It's hard to play with pace when you're behind the chains, when you're behind the sticks. And that's what it was most of the night, for us last week. So, that's what we've been harping on all week in practice, making sure we stay ahead of the chains, having positive plays on first down. And I think that's what you'll see tomorrow night. I think our guys are ready for the challenge. I'm confident. I'm confident every week in our guys because I know the kind of guys that we have in our locker room, and I know the kind of character that they are, as football players and as human beings. So I want to see those guys go out and have success because you could tell they're down in the dumps about their performance last week too. Not that they're moping around the building or anything, but there's just a different energy in the building. They know they didn't answer the bell last week and they were supposed to. So there's something that they want to make up for this week, and I think you'll see a different intensity out of our offense tomorrow night. And then defensively, I think with Shaw being out, you're going to see a bunch of guys out there that are trying to prove, hey, we are not going to have a drop-off. We're going to be the same defense that's going to get after you, and I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see some guys that maybe haven't played as much this year for us step up to the challenge and do a really good job. And it starts with moving some guys around like we talked about, Brad going to the middle.
I expect Brad to have a big game.
I think he's going to have a monster night for us. I really do.
I'm
excited
just from hanging around practice,
Yeah.
I just see him as that, and he's. I mean, if you see him on the sideline, you see him at practice, you see him on that field, he's just intense.
Yeah, definitely.
And I expect him to have a big game tomorrow.
Yeah, he will. He's going to have a big game. And another guy I'm excited to see who nobody's seen so far this year is Derek Stepter.
Let's go.
Step's going to have a big night for us tomorrow night. I'm excited to see him play and get his first taste of action this football season. Amarian Southall is another guy who played late last week with the injury, but we got him up to speed a little bit this week. A guy that we just transitioned from offense to defense, in fall camp right at the tail end. So, like, around South Terrebonne, he made the switch to defense. So he's trying to get caught up on everything on that side of the ball. But, we got a couple packages and things like that with him in there that we feel really comfortable about because he's a talented football player.
I know I called his name a lot the last 2 JV games.
Yeah, definitely. So he's a guy that's going to play a lot tomorrow night for us as well. And, we got a couple bumps and bruises and things like that in the secondary. So you might see some different rotational guys, this week. Obviously, I thought something defensively that we kind of struggled with last week was our conditioning with cramping. And it goes back to being on the field a lot, too, as well. But one of our emphasis this week was make sure we have guys ready to get in there when we do have that, to kind of, prevent that with, hey, get this guy in for 2 plays, get him back out, get the starter back in, just to kind of give some guys a blow throughout the game, and then you'll see some adjustments special teams wise as well with personnel. getting some of the guys that have been showing us their ability in the JV games. Those guys can be starting on varsity at special teams positions because they've earned it, in what they're doing in the JV stuff. So you'll see those guys out there in special teams tomorrow night. And then you'll also see them, kind of giving guys blows defensively and offensively, because that's something we talked about as well, was offensively at the skill positions. I think we were kind of slow on some routes because we were kind of tired at times. So we definitely have enough good players and good quality backups to where we should be able to plug and play guys and make sure that we stay fresh throughout a 4-quarter football game. So we've made some adjustments. We looked in the mirror. And we're ready to go and play a football game tomorrow night and get back in the win column, get to 500, on the season, 1-1, and then, go into a game next week and, finally come back home. So, we want to go, we're taking it one game at a time. This is a really big game for our football team.
One game at a time. We got to go out there, down the bayou, and get that win.
No doubt.
All right. Anything else?
That's it, man. Hey, y'all come down to Bayou tomorrow night. Watch us at South Lafourche High School, 7 o'clock kickoff. And you'll see your Tigers, get in the win column for the first time on the football season.
I'll be there. Y'all better be there.
No doubt.
Let's go down the bayou. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.